Hello, and welcome to today's episode of the GynoBits podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Susie Weber, board-certified gynecologist and menopause specialist. On the GynoBits podcast, we'll cover women's health issues with a focus on menopause, vulvovaginal conditions, and sexual health. Hello, and welcome to the first episode of the GynoBits podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Suzanne Weber, Dr. Susie Weber. This is an introduction to the podcast, and I'm going to keep it short today. But I just wanted to introduce myself, talk about who I am, what I do, and what I hope to accomplish with this podcast. I'm a board-certified gynecologist and menopause specialist. I've been in practice for 20 years in the Denver area. I see patients in a clinic of all ages and care for women for all gynecologic conditions, including wellness exams. I specialize in perimenopausal and menopausal care, vulvovaginal disorders, and women's sexual health. Last year, I decided to start my own web page, healthiermenopause.com, because I wanted a platform where I could provide unbiased education and support for women who were going through the perimenopause and having issues with their menopause. I wanted women to have a place where they could go and get information and not be sold a product or given false information. On my webpage, I post blogs about different topics. I have links to my social media accounts where I will post videos, short educational videos. But I want to use this podcast to go further in depth on the topics that women want to hear about. I'm also looking forward to having other people on my podcast to talk about how their area of expertise relates to women's health. And I'll also be podcasting my own episodes as well without guests. I plan on talking about health issues, not just physical health, but also mental health issues, mindset issues, a lot of things that really impact us once we get to our 40s and 50s and we start thinking about the second half of our life and what our purpose is and our legacy. Menopause and perimenopause have been traditionally overlooked, especially in the last couple of decades. It can be very challenging to find a practitioner that has any experience with perimenopausal symptoms and menopause and hormones. And so women have been somewhat abandoned by the medical establishment in the last couple of decades. Not by all medical providers, of course. For those of us that came out of residency before the 2002 Women's Health Initiative study, we did prescribe hormones and we felt very comfortable with that. After 2002, there's been really not a lot of teaching about how to treat women with hormones or how to care for perimenopausal and menopausal women, but fortunately that is changing. There are a lot of great health experts in this space, and we are starting to look at the perimenopause and menopause and do more studies, and hopefully this is all going to be changing. The information that I provide in this podcast is not medical advice, and it does not reflect the opinions or views of my employer. If you are local to Colorado and you would like to work with me as a patient, you can call my clinic and schedule an in-person visit or a virtual visit. If you are outside of Colorado or you just want to get general information about perimenopause and menopause and some of the issues that you are experiencing, then you can schedule a one-on-one paid consultation with me through my webpage. I am only licensed in Colorado and I cannot prescribe medications through a consultation, but we can figure out a plan for your perimenopausal or menopausal issues, and I can help you find a provider in your area. All right, guys. Well, I will be signing off. Next episode, I plan on talking about perimenopause, defining what it is, and symptoms of perimenopause. Thank you for joining me for today's GynoBits podcast. If you like this podcast, please like, subscribe, and share. Just a reminder that this is not medical advice and you should consult with your personal physician. Also, the opinions and views are mine only and do not reflect those of my employer. If you would like more information or to consult with me, please go to my webpage, healthiermenopause.com. You can also find me on Instagram at Healthier Menopause and Facebook, Menopause MD.